Hey guys, so in our first video on how to read a coffee label, we mentioned these three words which you may or may not know. They are the natural process, wash process, and the honey process. Let's talk about that, shall we? Coffee is essentially a fruit. Therefore, in natural process, the seed, which is the coffee, and the flesh is actually dried out together, and that is in result a natural process coffee. The actual thing is dried out together. The fruit is inside. Flavors that you typically get from natural process coffee are a little bit more fruity and a little bit more complex, simply because it is a combination of the seed and the fruit flavors. Some would argue it's actually a bit more fermenty as well, simply because the fruit goes through a process as a breakdown and you get all these different flavors. Hence why it's a bit more complex. So for the wash, we actually remove the flesh. It is just the seed itself, just the coffee itself. And some would say the flavors you get from a washed coffee is a little bit more or a lot more clear and more concise, because you're just drinking the flavor of the bean or the bean characteristics. This would mean that it's a bit more vibrant because it's just more clear, more direct, more in your face. So the honey coffee is actually a little bit more complex, a little bit more special, because it's a little bit of a wash and a natural. As you remove the flesh from the seed, there's actually a thin layer called a mucilage on the coffee cherry, on the coffee seed, sorry, and that will in turn create and develop a residue or a substance which some would say is like honey, hence why honey process. In a honey process coffee, it is essentially a lot more fruity than a natural, a little bit more acidic than a wash because of that mucilage layer. As a whole, a honey process coffee is a lot more rounded, it's a lot more earthy, a lot more deep, because it goes through that honey process. Some special mentions though. Besides these three main coffee processes, there are a couple more new ones, such as the anaerobic process and the carbonic maceration process. These two are the up-and-coming coffee processes in the industry today, which in turn gives you, some would say, sparkling flavors or other unique flavors which we are happy to share with you. So let us know down below in the captions, what would you like to find out? More about anaerobic or more about carbonic maceration? Thank you for joining us today on Ghostbird Shares, and we will see you next time. Cheers!